Welcome back to College Football Addiction. Drake C. Toll, locked on Big 12. Going to talk a little bit about Colorado today and Coach Prime. Let's just get right into it, Drake. It gets rumored every year, but what are the chances that this is Deion Sanders' last year at Colorado before we even get into spring?
Well, there's been a lot of talk about it in the offseason because Deion Sanders is such an enigma in football. He was a celebrity first. He was an NFL legend first, now the head coach of Colorado. A lot of his career has hinged on his sons and where they are. So the question being posed is a fair one. Without his sons in Boulder, how long will he stay? But according to Motorcycle Sports, Deion is vowing to shape the future of college football with his coaching magic. There are storylines in and out of that program that are all very positive right now. Last offseason, much of the national media was taking shots at Deion, saying he could not win as a head coach at the Division I Power 5 level. He has now proven that he can do so at Colorado. And the more that we see, the more headlines pop out about his son in the combine and him as a head coach. They're by and large positive, unless they're from reporters that like to make things up and keep things juicy just to generate clicks. And I mean, the amount of NFL players who have come back to be assistant coaches for Deion just shows that the program he's building is one that has longevity. He didn't install all of this to be there for a year, 2 years. And if he did, he would have already left. If he did, he would have taken a job with the first, second, third overall pick in the NFL draft this year, drafted his son, and then ridden off into the NFL sunset, left Colorado in the dust. Instead, he is committed to this 18 to 23-year-old age range at CU and making that program elite in college football. Now, the question becomes, TJ, can he keep the winning standard? Can he win without Shedeur Sanders? Can he win without Travis Hunter? That is a fair question and one we're about to find out the answer to. If it's up to me, up to you, I'm not sure if I can buy 10-win season for Colorado right now, but that's okay. They don't need to win 10 games to prove that Deion is still a very good head coach. Let's keep in mind, he just lost a Heisman caliber quarterback, arguably the best in this class, and the actual Heisman Trophy winner who played wide receiver and corner for this team. Replacing those two guys is going to be very tough. It is as important now for Deion Sanders to bring consistency to Boulder than it ever has been in these last few years. And I think it's going to do that.
Mentioned some of the guys leaving, and that kind of goes. He's even talked about that, right? Like, we're not going to replace a Travis Hunter. Like, that just, you need 5 guys to be able to do that. Where in their returners that are coming back this year, where will they try to lean to find success, and whatever that success number is for this year? I don't know. I mean, Coach Prime is not going to say anything less than 12-0 is success in his book, but where do they try to lean to have some success this season?
The first place you're going to have to start here is with quarterback. And I can't give you this laundry list of how Colorado will win in 2025 without starting at Caden Salter. If he is the guy, and we all kind of anticipate that Colorado will have a quarterback battle in this offseason, and I don't mind that whatsoever. I make the case a lot that where we sit in college football, to bring in a transfer quarterback, give them $2, $3, $4, $5 million a year and say they're going to be the guy, just kills whoever was sitting and waiting for that role. They're not improving. And the guy you brought in who's like, oh, well, I'm the starter now, they're not improving. Create competition. Colorado is going to do that. And I believe they have enough. They have enough guys on the defense who are returning that they can make waves in the Big 12 this season. If you ask Athlon Sports, they would tell you Colorado is preseason 10th in their power rankings. I have them a bit higher in mind, especially as the defense under Robert Livingston took a big step forward last year. I believe with the Colorado defense being improved, if that unit is their bell cow, this is an 8, a 9-win team. And doing that without, again, an elite quarterback and a Heisman Trophy winner, very impressive.
Yeah, it feels like if they can get a little bit more out of their defense, which their defense was one of the more underrated parts of their team this year, right? Like, everybody focused on, and I know Hunter played defensive back too, but everybody focused so much on what Hunter and Sanders and the offense were able to do at times. and the weapons they had, like it wasn't just them. It was, the wide receivers were some of the best in the country. There was a lot of good that went on. But if the defense takes another step forward and I don't want to say dominates, but just plays well in the Big 12. If the offensive line, right, you've got Seton coming back, you've got a lot of guys there on that unit that played much better than they did in 23. If those two units, right, we talk about games being one in the trenches, the team with the better defense a lot of times will come out on top. You don't have to rely so much on two top 5 picks, right? Because you're just in more games because you're playing more complete football. And to me, that would be the path for Colorado this year, is to maybe play a little bit more complete football, better defense, better offensive line, better rushing game. I know that Coach Prime talked about that all through the year. Hey, our running game just got to get better. And toward the end, it did. They had some things kind of open up there. But if they can play a more complete game, I think it'll go a long way towards them having more success this year.
I believe so, and I think the defense will be as strong, if not stronger, this season. That will help anchor them. And like I mentioned, Caden Salter, Juju Lewis is the freshman they're bringing in, who many people are high enough on they believe he could start day one, could carry things as a true freshman. I want to back off of that a little bit, because in today's era of college football, players have never been older, and asking a true freshman to lead a team on the gridiron is a very tough thing to do. So competition is going to be good for Colorado, but a storyline that we'll all be following very closely in the spring is Juju Lewis and Caden Salter, whether those two guys can build an actual competition and go toe-to-toe, or if Salter has just taken the job from Liberty and now at Colorado altogether. So quarterback's number one right now. Number two, sewing that defense up. Again, like you said, you lost your two most important players. They're gone. Offensive line, defensive line, but that unit of the defense, figuring out your quarterback, are the top two things Deion can do in the spring to ensure by the time August rolls around, his football team is ready. And again, what he has displayed in the transfer portal 2 years ago, he took 50 guys. This season, the transfer portal took like 20. Because he said, I don't need overhaul. I already brought my Louis bags. I need to fill gaps. I need positive attrition. If you can't make it here, transfer out. If you're a transfer who can improve our football team, come play at Colorado. That is his message. He is sticking to that swimmingly. And I think what Deion Sanders is going to prove, even this spring, is that he is a very good football coach.
Yeah, you mentioned this the Salter Juju talks, and man, we have seen so much here lately too. There are a few true freshmen that jump in because there's not that elder statesman that can really kind of hand the reins off. You think about Rayola at Nebraska and others that have had to step
Lagway,
in.
Yeah.
But even Lagway wasn't the starter until Mertz went down, right? Yep. That they went with Mertz because I do think coaches value that time. Arch Manning sitting behind Ewers. I think coaches do value, first of all, it's the idea of that jump, right? How many true freshmen are really ready? Nico at Tennessee sat behind for a year and probably would have been better suited in 23 to play his redshirt year. But I think it's not only like, are they ready? It's the idea of like, man, what can this guy learn from this guy? Like you look at the NFL even, the guys who kind of have a little bit of time to sit behind somebody for a year and a half, 2 years. Not that you have 2 years in college, but the guys that have a little bit of time to sit behind somebody, usually it does pay off pretty well for them. Not to say that Juju couldn't go out and win the job and be really, really successful. But man, how good could he be in 26 if he sits behind a really successful Salter this first year?
Yeah, I think that's what will be the big storyline next year is Deion stays with his star quarterback. And that star quarterback might not have started a game this season, but with Juju Lewis sitting behind Caden Salter, if that's the way this pans out, and I think it could be very positive for Colorado, even if they win, again, 7, 8, 9 games with Salter as the head man, but you give Juju a chance to develop into that role, they're going to be very happy with how it plays out in 2026.
I want to talk more about that QB battle as we get into the spring, so we'll certainly get you on. But I know that you talk Colorado and all things Big 12 over where you are. Where can folks find you?
Yeah, at Drake C. Toll on Twitter or at LO Big 12, and wherever you find your podcast with Locked On Big 12.
Awesome. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, TJ.